disturbing, viewer discretion is advised. Reports show the bills produced and distributed for the United States have printed on them bombings that have happened in the past, and bombings that will happen in the future. The immediate threat coming is a nuclear attack on New York City. It has all been planned from the beginning and there is no stopping what is to come. These are clips taken from a video called Destruction of America produced by Jonathan Kleck, and have been deleted by YouTube to continue to conceal the truth. We are now looking at the 1998 US $20 bill, alongside the Twin Towers moments after the attack that took place in 2001. As you can see, the money printed years prior to the attack is identical to the attack on the Twin Towers. Now we will turn the bill over to see the Pentagon bombing on the same bill, folded in the same pattern. This is now two attacks that happened on the same day identically printed on the same United States $20 bill. If you are skeptical that this is real, or think it might be a coincidence, this is not the first time they printed an attack on your money. Let's quickly review the older $20 bill. This is the Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building bombing that took place in Oklahoma City in 1995. Some key characteristics worth pointing out is the rounded corners on the ends of the building, the face blown off, and the floors of the building jutting out. I will now take an image from the Oklahoma bombing and lay the $20 bill on top of it. As you can see, we have another perfect match. Now we will go over the bombing that is to come. This is the United States $100 bill. Folded into the same upside-down pentagram, you can see New York City being consumed by an explosion. There is hidden watermark ink on the bill that cannot be seen with the naked eye. Putting the image into computer software, I will show you each layer of ink that shows you the full destruction of New York City. With each layer of ink added, you can see the movement of the explosion coming towards you. We are front-loaded about this upcoming attack in many ways. Here is an example from a movie called The Day After Tomorrow. Putting the bill and movie clip next to each other, you can see they are front-loading the same agenda. Looking on the next image hidden on the same $100 bill, you can see a nuclear missile impacting the water. The watermark layers of ink show the water splashing from the impact of the nuke. Laid on top of the bill is a missile strike and how it would look to show you the resemblance between the two. Finally, let's look at the new $10 bill and review the exact same agenda hidden on it. Firstly, notice the orange tint on the bill. This was done with intent. On the top of the image, you will see a large explosion happening while the building has a large tidal wave pouring over top of it. In the bottom portion of the image, you will see the building's reflection from the water flooding. The threats are real and should be taken seriously. For more information, links are in the description below.
President Obama says Russia's recent actions in Ukraine are cause for concern, but he thinks terrorism, especially in our area, is a much greater threat.
Russia's actions are a problem. They don't pose the #1 national security threat to the United States. I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan.
The president.
So that's from an older video I did, and I just want to make you guys aware. My equipment, y'all may have noticed some of the audio has been going down on the segments that I'm producing for you guys. It's not a problem when I'm producing it. We've come to find out when I load up the video, I'll have a perfect timeline and my audio will be just fine. But once it transfers to YouTube, they drop the levels down on the segments, and that's just a tactic to stop people maybe from listening because they'll dial the audio down so low. So we're coming up with some plans to make sure the segments that you watch don't have diminished audio. Okay, so now if you'll just bear with me for a minute, I'm going to show you guys a litany of proof of where we're at, what's coming, and make a plea just for anyone to get in the lifeboat now, because with what I'm going to show you, it's it's just stupid obvious at this point what's coming. So let me just share the data with you. Let's play that one more time. I want you to just listen one more time.
President Obama says Russia's recent actions in Ukraine are cause for concern, but he thinks terrorism, especially in our area, is a much greater threat.
Russia's actions are a problem. They don't pose the #1 national security threat to the United States. I continue to be much more concerned when it comes to our security with the prospect of a nuclear weapon going off in Manhattan.
Okay, so he just said that, but I prophesied in 2008 or 2007 that a nuclear weapon would go off in Manhattan. And those images that the words that I prophesied manifested as images on U.S. currency. That was the beginning of this video. The $10 bill has a tidal wave. Out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. That's a nuke. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem shall cover the city by the sea. That's a tidal wave. They printed U.S. currency notes that match those words now. So, okay, so now then Obama says that, and that was after the prophetic utterance. So now let me continue to show you just a litany of information now that ties together in a way that's so beyond the human brain. It's just past the human brain. So let me just start working on tying it all together for you. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm overloaded mentally. I literally had an overload crisis today because I have too much supernatural information to try and process. Okay. Okay, now I want y'all to start considering what I'm going to show you and where we're at in world history right now. I'm going to show you Sheriff Joe Arpaio that took the birth certificate of Barack Obama with Mike Zullo, and they sent it out to forensic labs in other countries that came to the identical conclusion. I'm going to show you the conclusions so you can see it with your own eyes. The powers that be even tried to blur out the images on the birth certificate that I'm going to show you. I want there to be a video out there that someone's done, and I'll be the person to do it, that shows all this stuff in one video. I want there to be someone that was willing to step out and just, I don't care, I'm just going to show you. I don't care. Someone needs to show you all this. Someone needs to do it. So I'll be the guy. So let's do it. So here is this guy from CNN trying to harass Joe Arpaio. By the way, after Obama was in the White House the second term, he put Joe Arpaio in jail, an 82-year-old man in jail. Trump pardoned this guy, and he proved forensically that the birth certificate for Barack Obama was a complete fraud. And I'll show you. I'm going to show it to you. Then I'm going to show you other things. So here we go.
Something else that you and Donald Trump have in common, in addition to making the issue of illegal immigration a real focus, is that you've both trafficked in this rather preposterous notion that President Obama was not born in the United States and that he may have forged his birth certificate that he released. Why would you risk your credibility on issues that you care about, like illegal immigration, like law enforcement, by getting involved in this nonsense?
What do you mean risk? I'm the chief law enforcement officer elected by the people. I have a right to investigate and speak out. So I'm not talking about where he came from. I don't care where he came from. We're working on a fraudulent, forged government document. That's what we are doing.
You're maintaining that the birth certificate that the President of the United States revealed and released to the public, you're maintaining that that is fraudulent.
That's right.
Okay, so now I'm going to stop it there so you don't have to listen to the shill from CNN. You could hear the way he framed it up. Listen to the way he framed up the whole conversation. But Joe Arpaio and Mike Zullo proved it was fraudulent. Can you imagine we had a president that did 2 terms? He's doing his 3rd right now through Biden with a fraudulent birth certificate. Just imagine what it would take to cover that up. That means all these alphabet agencies would have to be involved. It's another race of beans, folks. It's a serpent race. It's the only way they could get this done. Now watch. Here we go. By the way, all these are in the show notes. So I want to show you where you can get all these. This is in a folder called Exceptional Videos in Hawaii, and that's where you can find these. So that one was right here, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, Obama's birth certificate. And then we're going to look at another one here. Okay, so just to frame this up very quickly, this is Mike Zullo. That was one of the investigators, and they invited him on another one of the SHIELD programs, and he's starting to present the evidence. And after this one, we're going to move on to where they got all the evidence from the forensic labs, and they proved, it's absolutely proven it's fake. Now watch. So here is investigator Mike Zullo. He talks about Obama's birth certificate. Here we go, watch.
Thanks, Brandon. Well, love it or hate it, Sheriff Joe Arpaio takes aim at President Obama, claiming he has proof now that the president's birth certificate is a fraud. It's a story making headlines nationally. But what about this birth certificate? Is it real? Is it fake? What's suspicious about it? With us.
Okay, now before they continue, I want you to know later in this video, I'm going to show you a video I did that shows Loretta Fuddy was in the same cult in Indonesia that Barack Obama's mother was in. I'll say it again. Her name's Loretta Fuddy. She was appointed. She's from Indonesia. She's in Indonesia in a cult that Barack's mother is in. She was appointed national health director in Hawaii, and she's the person that signed off on Barack's birth certificate. Out of 7 billion people, a woman named Loretta Fuddy that's in a cult in Indonesia called Subud, the Rising Sun. She's the one that signed off on Obama's long-form birth certificate. She was appointed as health director in Hawaii. No way. That's insane. And then there was an alleged plane crash in the ocean and she drowned. You're going to see all this. It's total insanity. Look where we're at now.
Here is Mike Zullo. He has been hands-on with this for quite a while now. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
As the lead investigator, this thing very polarizing. I'm going to ask you some tough questions.
Sure.
Are you a Republican or a Democrat?
I am a Republican.
And are you doing this for political reasons?
No.
Have you gained anything financially from this?
No, we had a small book we published, and the proceeds went to charity from that. Never a motivation to.
I want to pause it. Look at the direction all the newscasters go. Look how they slant it, but watch what happens.
Make money on this.
Will you gain anything in the future?
Oh, that I don't know.
And what happens if you're flat out wrong?
I'll be the first one to apologize, but I know we're not wrong.
Okay.
We're not wrong.
You've spent quite a bit of time investigating some of this.
Yes.
Yesterday you laid it out. It was 90 minutes. We've got about 3 minutes to get through it.
Okay.
I want to start right up here. What is this number and what does it mean?
This number is put on in sequential order from the Department of Health at the end of the month, and it's stamped by batch. In other words, pile 1, pile 2. They all come in the same time at the end of the month. A batch indicates a different region. In other words, Kapolani Hospital would be one batch, an outlying office would be another.
And then it's orchestrated by the time.
Time and date, yes, and they're put in chronological order.
Okay.
And then they are date stamped, or excuse me, they are stamped. And counter.
Now the problem here is this is 10641.
Right.
It's out of order. How?
Well, he was actually born before 2 twins were born who have a lower number than him. His number should have been lower.
Could this have gotten out of order in the stack?
I asked that question to UK Lee, a 95-year-old woman that we found that worked there at the time, purportedly may have even signed this document, and she assured us there was no way for that to happen.
I want to talk about her for a minute. You have her on tape. It's an audio tape?
It's an audio tape.
It's a phone conversation.
Phone conversation.
Did you ever?
I want to pause it because I want you to understand what's coming after this. I don't want people watching this and go, oh, some 95-year-old. No. What you're going to see after this is conclusive. So just wait. Don't prejudge anything.
Ever meet her in person?
No, unfortunately, I located her the week after we got back from Hawaii.
Okay, she's 95?
95.
How mentally aware is she?
Sharp as a tack.
Okay. She does not remember this birth certificate, but she told you of the procedure of what happened at that time. Anybody else confirm that?
Actually, there was an article written, I believe, 10, 15 years ago by an individual, last name Bennett, no relation to the Secretary of State, that outlined these procedures. She almost hits it right to the head. I mean, she takes it right to the T as far as the coding, the way they were numerically numbered by batch.
Okay.
She verifies it.
I want to take you to some other numbers here. These are pencil numbers.
Yes.
This is it looks like a 2, a 9, a 9, a 1.
Right.
What does the 9 mean?
The 9 and the 9 and the 1 caught our attention because on the twins' birth certificate, they're 1, 1, and 1. We've found out and discovered through our investigation that number 9s indicate information was not stated. If information isn't stated, this field needs to be blank.
Okay.
So does this field needs to be blank. This was a federal coding. Number 9, for statistical purpose, where the federal government would take birth certificate information and enter it on magnetic tape, back then in numerical codes. Number 9, per the federal guideline, not stated, blank field. This, however, is not a 9 for the federal code. It's actually for their state code. Number 9. Not stated.
So what you're basically implying is that this birth certificate, whether it's from him being born in Hawaii or not being born in Hawaii, these places were blank at one time, and that's the code that tells you that.
This was not blank. Number 1 stands for Caucasian or white.
Yeah, but 9 and 9.
9 and 9.
I'm going to flip that. Let's say these were filled in and someone added the 9s. Is that possible?
Here's why we don't believe it's possible. Because this document was penciled in and indicated by workers, UK Lee herself, if she is the one who signed this. It is coded when it gets to the Department of Health. Then before it is signed, that coding is checked by another individual. That was the procedure. Then it was signed and accepted.
2 other factors that you found that I thought were fairly interesting from this procedure and policy that happened at that time in Hawaii. You could be born not in a particular hospital, but let's say in a house down the street, and come in to the Department of Health and say, this child was born at this time, and they fill out the birth certificate for you. Is that true?
Correct.
Okay, so there were no fact checks at that time.
No, and as a matter of fact, by their own state statute, a birth certificate issued by them is only prima facie evidence, which means at first blush. But the definition of prima facie evidence is requires more investigation to check its validity.
Could you have been born in a different place and come into the United States through Hawaii?
In 1961, that was a loophole. People we know and we have evidence of were lying on those applications, born elsewhere and trying to get United States birth certificates for obviously constitutional reasons.
Are you or Sheriff Arpaio saying that President Obama faked his birth certificate?
No.
What are you saying?
We're saying that this document that was produced by somebody, and the Department of Health says they didn't produce it, has faked this document. You cannot, by statute, create a state identificational document like a birth certificate, be anybody else than the state issuing it by having legal authority to do so, and just parade it around. That's a felony.
What happens from here? I know the press conference was yesterday. Have you seen the fallout from it? Has anyone reached...
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there now. I just want you to understand this is just a short little, here we go. Buckle up. Now we're going to do the next video where they've already, it's been through all the channels, it's been proven to be false. One thing I noticed about the video I watched, it was an over an hour video. The first half of the video, they really blurred out the birth certificate. Even though there's a 720 that you should be able to watch it in high resolution, they blurred it out, of course. But I'm going to show you, I caught the second half, and that's what you're going to get to see. And the reason I want you to see all this is because where we're at right now with the same guy, Barack Obama. Behold, the man of peace, Barack Hussein Obama, shall come forth from the sea, and with words of peace he will bring chaos and destruction. Those are the words I prophesied back in 2007 before he became president. I'm going to show you just how serious this is all getting right now. Okay, just sit tight. Okay, now this is when Sheriff Joe Arpaio releases information on Obama's birth certificate. This is the point where they proved it was fraudulent, that the document itself is a fraudulent document. That means the guy that was running the country did not have a real birth certificate. WhiteHouse.gov posted that birth certificate. Don't forget, the person that signed off on it was Loretta Fuddy. She was in a cult in Indonesia called Subud. And she signed off on the long-form birth certificate of Barack Obama. And she just happened to be in a cult in Indonesia that Barack Obama's mom was in? Really? I mean, that's insane. But just watch. Just keep watching. Here we go.
Today, Sheriff Arpaio and Mike Zullo are going to share information to you on a case that they've been working since August of 2011. Since the beginning of this investigation, you, the media, have continued to mischaracterize the nature of this investigation. So you're going to hear this more than once today, but this investigation was never about where President Obama was born. This is about a document that was presented to the general public through the White House and purported to be a factual document. Today you're going to hear lots of information that some of you are going to understand and are going to be able to tell the true story. In fact, please know that this is a very technical, but the evidence is clear if you'll pay attention. Please note you're going to hear about two separate experts. These experts are two separate continents with no knowledge of each other, and they draw similar conclusions. Again, that said, I know some of you are going to get this story and are going to tell the story the way it was. However, there's going to be others here today who will continue to malign this sheriff and Mike Zullo in order to show that you haven't been wrong for many years while covering this story. All I ask is that you are respectful during the presentation of the information. Here's Sheriff Joe Arpaio.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, thank you for showing up. Back in 2011, about 250 members of the surprise Tea Party came to me and asked me to investigate President Obama's birth certificate, since they believe evidence showed that the certificate was a fraud. I agreed to look into the matter, and with Chief Investigator Mike Zullo, we initiated an investigation. At this time, and to this day, I stated that I did not care where the president was born. Had nothing to do with that. But we were going to investigate a possible government forged document. Hope you get that straight. I've been saying that from day one since 2011. Today you will be presented with an in-depth executive summary of our investigation into the matter, which we now have concluded to be a fraudulently created document which has been represented as an official copy of the original birth certificate of President Obama. We and anyone else who dared to question the document have been maligned, falsely labeled, grossly criticized in the bulk of the media on certain internet.
All right, so now I'm going to jump forward. There's a whole lot to see here, but I'm going to go way forward so we can just get to it. Again, you can watch these entire presentations. They're all in the folder for you. Everything's in the folder for you. This needs to stand as a record for the world. I want the world to know. The world needs to know. Barack Obama, everybody knows he's gay. Everybody knows, just like Joan Rivers said, everyone knows Michelle's a tranny. What was his secret agenda that he was going to unleash? Remember, he said, for you conspiracy-oriented friends on the right that think I'm going to unleash some secret agenda in my final presidency, he said, you're absolutely right. What is that secret agenda? Does it have something to do with the rainbow? Is it a reptilian thing? What is it?
It even puts the White House website address in it. But you gotta read what it says. They're not validating the image. They're validating the information. And we have no idea how that information got there. Simple to understand, the dilemma, because the director of health previously says she saw the record in a bound volume sitting where it should be on a shelf. The incoming governor can't find it. And they look for it. And now they can't find it in this bound volume. Now they find it in the state archives, half typed, half written. Well, which was it? Was it in the bound volume? Or is it sitting in a pile of papers? And then all of a sudden, it mysteriously makes its way back to a bound volume. We have no idea what's on that birth certificate. We have no idea if there was a birth certificate. We have no idea if somebody just wrote something down and through some nice legal maneuvering created a birth event. We don't know. We just simply don't know. We don't know where Mr. Obama was born, nor that was not something we're here to find out. We don't know that. We don't know if he's a natural born citizen or not. I don't think the country knows what the definition of that is anymore. That wasn't anything that we were pursuing. We're pursuing the document. So let me play this one more time for you because it's getting late. I want to show you this evidence all over again. And I really want you to sit back now, think about what I just shared with you, and see how this comes.
From the state of Hawaii. According to the dates on the certificates, these births took place in Honolulu during the month of August in 1961, just 16 days apart.
I'm gonna set this up for you. Okay, over here on the right is what they're calling the source document. Okay, right here on the right, they're calling this the source document. Over here on the left is Obama's birth certificate. They're going to show you that there are stamps that are hand stamped. Like when you have a birth certificate, they put 2 hand stamps on it. They're going to show you by taking the hand stamp off the source document. So they got someone's birth certificate and they migrated the hand stamp over to Obama's birth certificate, and the angle of the hand stamp is identical for each of the ones that were migrated. The odds of someone hitting a stamp 16 days later and the angle of the stamp is identical on both of them, on both separate documents, the angle of the hand stamp is identical. Then they're going to migrate 4 other boxes over, and they're going to migrate them from the source document that they used to create the forgery. They're going to migrate 4 boxes over and put them right on the boxes on Barack's birth certificate. Then after this, I'm going to show you the video that the Lord had me do to back up what the Lord had let me prophesy, because we're at the end, guys. And it's all about the rising sun, the sun rising over the west. That's what this, the coming of the Mahdi, like I showed you with, I mean, what is Joe Biden doing meeting with an Islamic professor every Wednesday for a year? And he's kept him on to teach him about the hidden imam, the hidden imam, the 12th imam. Why? Does that sound kind of weird? I mean, how hard would it be to find your birth certificate? What about my birth certificate? I mean, it would be no problem, but the President of the United States is this big, oh, where's it? It should be no problem whatsoever, and because it is a problem, it is the most ridiculous thing in the world. What about being gay? What about transgender? What about all that? What about all the lies? See, all the actors are getting caught. They're just a bunch of actors. They're a bunch of actors. And everything's coming out in the light. Okay, now watch. Here you go.
The birth certificate on the left belongs to Barack Obama. The birth certificate on the right belongs to Johanna Ani. After 5 years of intense investigation, which included consultation with one of America's most respected forensic document examiners and a team of European media forensic experts, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office has reached a conclusion utilizing forensic techniques both old and new. It is the opinion of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office that the birth certificate on your right belonging to Johanna Ani was in fact used as a source document in the digital creation of Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate.
I'm going to pause it real quick, and I'm going to try and turn on, see if I can get the, it says quality 360. I'm going to try and go to 720 so we can see a little more clearly, but this is one of their tactics. One of their tactics they use on me is they screw up my audio. One of the tactics they're using is to try and blur it out. We know what's going on. I know what's going on.
9 points of forgery in which words, letters, and hand was in fact used as a source document in the digital creation of Barack Obama's long-form birth certificate. 9 points of forgery in which words, letters, and hand-placed date stamps had been digitally copied from the Yanni long-form birth certificate and pasted onto Obama's long-form birth certificate. We'll look at the first 5 points of forgery together, since they were brought over from the ID document in one group.
I really want that to sink in. These were taken as one group. That's why relationally they are proportionate to each other. That's a key factor here.
Now let's drop out the Yanni document as a background and view that again.
Look what's happening to my computer right now. See what's going on right now? All my computer's doing is buffering. Look at this. You see, I'm already under attack. I'm being monitored. Why do you think everything's buffering all of a sudden? Look at what you're looking at, folks. Look at that.
Now let's look at the date stamps in box 20 and 22. In this case, the stamps were brought over one at a time. But as we do this experiment, ask yourself, what are the odds that 2 stamps in 2 separate boxes, stamped by hand 16 days apart, would have the exact same angle in box 20 and the exact same angle in box 22. First, we'll look at the left stamp. Now, the right stamp. It should be pointed out that these stamps were looked at by 2 separate document examiners who specialize in 2 separate forensic disciplines and who reside on 2 different continents. Both agree that these angles are identical on both the Obama document and the Yanni document. Let's watch that again without all of the background clutter.
Look at the angle. See the angle right here? And I mean, you cannot make this up. One is that was a hand stamp on the source document. They migrated. It's the identical angle. They went and got the other one on the right. They migrated. It's identical. This is a forged document. So the president of the United States, this is his 3rd term running Biden. I mean, you don't think that's an issue? It's like, hello. Okay, so out of the sea shall come fire and smoke and a devouring wind. Water as high as the walls of Jerusalem will cover the city by the sea. I prophesied those words in 2007 before Obama became president. Obama himself said, I'm not so worried about Russia and Ukraine. I'm worried about a nuke going off in Manhattan. What? He said that back then. It's like, okay. The Twin Towers are printed on your U.S. currency note. The bombing of the Twin Towers is on your $20 bill. The bombing of the federal building is on your old $20 bill. The Pentagon bombing's on your new $20 bill. Do you understand? I'm just trying to wake up any sheep I can. The end of the world is here. And they're taking the stage front and center right now. I'm going to show you. Y'all know Klaus Schwab with the WEF. Remember Klaus? Talking about vaccine equity. Everybody must get vaccinated because nobody's safe unless everyone is vaccinated. Really? Well, let me show you Noah Harari, his little attack boy. Let me show you what Noah Harari did. Okay, you guys good with this? If you want to see the rest of the presentation, just watch the whole thing out of the folder. I'll give it another couple minutes, but let's move on to Klaus Schwab. Look at this.
It should be noted that Susan and Gretchen Nordike were born 5 minutes from each other and have consecutive serial numbers. Therefore, their date stamps ostensibly would have been put on back to back. But as you can see, looking at the leftmost date stamps underlined in red and looking at the rightmost date stamps underlined in blue, there is no similarity in terms of the angle of the date stamps. How ironic that Barack Obama's birth certificate and Johanna Ani's birth certificate, which were stamped 16 days apart, are identical in angle according to two separate disciplines within the world of forensic document examination, and yet the Nordike twins, born 5 minutes from each other, stamped back to back, don't show any similarity in angles. We've made a number of references to angles so far. The reason for that is if you're going to take an item off of one document and place it onto another, the angle is going to remain the same unless you intentionally alter it after you place it on the second document. Watch.
Look at that. Look at that. That's a bust.
Here's what we think we know about that.
Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That y'all can watch this whole video. I want to keep moving. I want to keep moving towards the Hawaii thing. That the fire in Hawaii, it's a lot more than you think. It's a lot more than y'all think. You know what? I'm going to show you the Hawaii thing right now. Watch this. Let's go. Let's just go there real quick. I'm going to make the point right now. Ready? Here is the cult of Subud. I showed you this the other day, the 7-pointed star. This target thing, let me show you something very quickly alongside of it. Let's see, Subud, S-U. Okay, here's the Subud logo right here. So when the Subud thing was done for this video, you see this right here? It should have been done with this circle. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that circle should replace the circle you're looking at, but that 7-pointed star also represents Subud. It's the cult of Subud, the rising sun. Again, Loretta Fuddy was in that cult in Indonesia during the time Barack was there with his mother. Very important. Loretta Fuddy is the one that signed off on the fake birth certificate you just saw. She was installed from Indonesia over to Hawaii as the national health director. Can you imagine how connected you'd have to be to have her sign off? And then her plane went mysteriously down in the ocean and they can't find her. Oh, she's dead. And the one person out of 7 billion people in the world that could identify the birth certificate is mysteriously dead. They just moved her off somewhere. They just fake killed her probably and took her somewhere. Here, go live out your life wherever, whatever. I don't believe she's dead. I have clips of the video of the plane. I am a skydiving videographer. I have been paid to work at a drop zone, jump with a camera helmet, and do video. When a plane is going down, I've been in 2 planes that went dead stick. When a plane goes dead stick and you know you're going to go in, you have a couple options. One is if you're high enough, you tell the pilot, I'm going to leave the airplane, which I did both times, or you ride that plane down and you land a dead stick plane with that pilot. Okay, if you're going to go down and you're going to land a Cessna in the ocean as a videographer, let me tell you something. The last thing you're going to be doing is worry about getting video of you hitting the water when you hit. I guarantee you when that plane hits the water, you're not going to be going, oh, look, here's my video cam. I think I'll do a little video of the plane in the water. That's effing insane. No, you're going to be like, get your rig off. Get out of the plane. You're not going to be, your camera gear is going to be fried anyway because of the impact from hitting the water. They actually tried to tell people, oh, look, here's a video of the plane in the water that had Loretta Funny in it. That's insanity, man. It's all the world's a stage, and all the actors are being caught because the world stage, the internet, and the connectivity of all of us, they can't hide it anymore. And it's just all coming to light. They can't hide this anymore. Okay, ready? The cult of Subud. Ready? So Obama's mom is in the cult of Subud, the rising sun. Okay? You're going to see that again. Ready? Here is Obama's logo for the 2008 Obama Biden right there. That is the sun rising over the stripes of the American flag. Not only is it the stripes, it's 3. The number 3 in the Bible is angel of the bottomless pit. That represents the angel of the bottomless pit rising. That's what it represents. That's what his logo is. Here is Joe Biden's logo for his presidency. It is a continuation of the letter O rising over the 1, 2, 3 stripes of the West. And that would indicate that the sun, the bad guy, has risen over the West. What's happening in the United States? Oh, it's being destroyed from the inside. It's a no-brainer. Okay, there you go. Now, let's continue. So we have, ready? The rising sun, cult of Subud. Obama, the rising sun. Joe Biden, the rising sun. Let's look at the thing that just happened in Hawaii. There you go. The rising sun. The rising sun. They're making a statement. The angel of the bottomless pit that's running the hive is making a statement. Let me show you something. Here's the seal of the state of Hawaii. Ready? The rising sun. What do you see right here? Oh, the phoenix rising up out of the ashes. Like Lanai, the ashes that got torched. You're starting to see this? They communicate in symbology. You see the phoenix rising out of the ashes? You see the rising sun? But did you see this? I saw this. Okay, if you draw a line right down the center here, right down the center, this is an inversion of this. Ready? See the twins? One right side up, one upside down. Like, look at that as an eyeball. Right side up, upside down. Star in the middle, representing the angel that's trapped in the system. But look at this. It's inside of a pentagram. So the star inside of a pentagram, with that logo reversed, that's what it is. I mean, this is it. I read their language. They are saying the rising sun, the angel of the bottomless pit, is making his move right in front of everybody. I can see it. There it is. You can't make this up. That's the phoenix rising. That is an upside down pentagram. That is a right side up star pentagram. See the line right down the center like a twin? One right side up, one upside down. Phoenix rising. Do you get it? You're going to get it. Just watch. There you go. So how many rising suns do we have? Well, let's see. We have the cult of Sabood. We have Obama. We have Joe Biden's logo now. Rising sun, rising sun, rising sun. Now we have rising sun right here. And then we have the rising sun on the state seal as well with the Phoenix rising. No big deal. Okay, hopefully that didn't totally glitch out. Looks like here come the attacks. I don't know how many of y'all have seen the woman that was doing the side language. While they're doing it, she started shooting all these devil horns. Look at what she did. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Right in plain sight. There you go. Okay, let me show you just real quick the phoenix, what it means. The phoenix is an immortal bird that cyclically regenerates or is otherwise born again. While it's part of Greek mythology, it has analogs in many cultures, such as Egyptian and Persian, associated with the sun. A phoenix obtains new life by rising from the ashes of its predecessors. Oh, you mean like all these other rising suns? Yes, just like those, Johnny. There you go. You see what's going on? Now, let me show you another rising sun you may not know about. Akhenaten. Now, this is a hieroglyph of Akhenaten. Let me show you the dragon. You see the dragon right here with his mouth open? See the flame going down? Where does the flame go to? It goes right to the crotch of this woman. So it's Akhenaten in Nefertiti again. See the eye of the dragon eye to eye with the woman? I'm going to show this to you. I colored this with a clear layover. Ready? You cannot make this up. This is my spiritual gift, guys. You see the dragon? Okay, I'll just slide it right over. I'll slide it right over on the dragon. There it is. So this, now, you know what? Let me enlarge this and you can see the dragon yourself. There's the dragon's eye right there, top of his head coming down. It incorporates her eye and the eye of the dragon, or eye to eye, comes in, takes over this line, comes down here. That's the nose, goes up. That's the open mouth. That's the bottom jaw. Goes this way. Here's the neck. So here's a dragon coming out of the sun, and it's also represents the womb. And Akhenaten means worshipers of the sun. Akhenaten, worshipers of the sun. Akhenaten. It's like this. By the way, this is the hieroglyph that one of the very first things the Lord had me do after I was converted was to blow up a hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, and then the Lord had me draw in this entire hieroglyph. He told me blow it up in a poster, put it on a light board, and just trust him. And I'm like, okay. And I put the whole thing, I built a giant light board, and the Lord drew it in through me. And it's a serpent race killing a sheep race. What's the Vatican? Serpent race killing a sheep race. What are people drawing pictures of Jonathan Kleck? Oh, they're putting dead sheep on top of my head and serpents eating me. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, over and over. I mean, I can show you the same agenda. There's the dead sheep behind my ear. There's Johnny. There's Johnny. There's a dead sheep on my head, a goat on the back of my head, and a serpent eating me over and over and over again. The Lord let me bust him. It's a serpent race. It's taking over the whole world right now. I'm showing it to you. You're seeing it. What do you think the Vatican being a snake is? You know what? Now would be a good time for one of those little short Johnny intros, right? Let's see if we can do one of those. So here is the most obvious question in the world. If you were made in the image of God,
Why does the Bible say, while you were yet my enemies, I saved you? How could you be made in the image of God, but you were his enemy? So let's just do the simple mental math. Who's the enemy of the Lord God? Who's the enemy? The serpent, the dragon, Satan, the devil. And those are all one and the same. Every single one. Revelation 17, that old dragon called the serpent.
Revelation 12. Sorry about that. Not Revelation 17.
The devil and Satan was cast out. So that's who was cast out. That old dragon, the serpent, the devil and Satan. The Bible says, while you were yet my enemies, I saved you. The only enemy of Jesus is the serpent, the devil, the dragon, Satan. So that means you were the serpent, the dragon, the devil, or Satan, because those are his enemies. So just using the mental math, while you were yet my enemies, I saved you. Okay, again now, back to the scriptures. Why do we have to be adopted? Adopted means you had another parent, because when you were born into the earth, you had earthly parents. And the Bible even says, if your parents knew how to give good gifts to their children, how much more will your Father in heaven give to those who ask? Okay, so
let me rephrase that real quick so you understand. If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children. Ready? Jesus was telling us, if you and your evil know how to give good gifts to your children, so he straight up called us all evil, because we are Satan. We are the serpent. We are the dragon. It's a no-brainer. What do you think the flesh is? Yeah.
So, see, the Father in heaven is the Father of spirits. Everybody gets confused with the flesh and the spirit. People's brains don't know how to delineate. There's a difference between flesh and spirit. So the Father of spirits, and we made our choice to come here. And so now you're commingled with another spirit, a demon, angel and a demon, inside one host body. That's the whole understanding. Then you have to be adopted. Then in Genesis 1, let us make man in our image. There's the spirit of the world. There's the spirit that's of the world, the prince of the power of the air. And then there's the Holy Spirit. Why do you think you have to get a new spiritual conversion? Because the spirit that's running you isn't the Holy Spirit. It's a no-brainer. So when you turn back to God, you turn back. Where's God? God's in heaven. Up. You turn, look up. That's why Islam prays with their head to the ground. Satan's their daddy. Anyway, in this story, it's the most obvious thing in the world now, and then the Lord's given me all the information that proves it to be true. So anyway, the scriptures never fail, ever. So no one can come against the information because the scriptures bear it out. And then the information and the gift that the Lord gave me, the Vatican's a snake. Prove it.
See, that's why the Vatican's a snake, you guys. I mean, how obvious does this have to be now? I mean, seriously, how stupid obvious does it all have to be? Really? I mean, come on, Joan Rivers. It's like, it's a no-brainer. It's so stupid. I mean, it's like, what's the new agenda in the world? Trans, that's it. Well, you know, boys are girls, girls are boys. Boys are taking over girls' sports. I mean, it's just insanity. Yeah, here we go. Now, let's get back to it. Here's kind of a funny one. 8 years after the White House, the Obamas took an epic Polynesian vacation, whatever, on David Geffen's 450-foot yacht called the Rising Sun. See it right there? The Rising Sun. There you go. So, y'all know what this is all about? Why is Obama's logo the Rising Sun? Why is his mom in a cult called the Rising Sun? Why is Hawaii's logo the Rising Sun? Why is the phoenix rising out of the ashes and Lanai's all burned? You got it? Okay, it's a no-brainer. Okay, here we go. Now let's go back. Oh, hang on one sec. Hit the wrong back button. Let's go back to this now. Let me show you guys a video. Or you know what? Let's go through a couple things. There's a game called Wink Among Us. Wink among us. There is one imposter among us. You know what? See the one winking right here? Because that's really the mouth. All you got to do is turn it upside down. There's the imposter, the one that's winking. See, there's one imposter, the one that's winking. Because that's his eye, that's his mouth. That's how you know. Now there's also a game it's called Wink Murder. There you go, Wink Murder. Go check it out, Wink Murder. Because it's true. Those that wink the eye devise perverse things. That's when he says, and I was born in Hawaii. He winks at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. No big deal. Maybe you guys remember this clip from, I forgot the name of Time Machine, where Guy Pearce says, what's going on here? And that guy right there, the black guy, goes, well, my sources are no longer fully operational. And he goes, but I believe what is one race is now two, one above, one below. And he goes, well, how do the ones below survive? And he goes, that's the real question. And he winks and goes, bah, to the little kid. He bleats at a little kid like a sheep. Hello? He winks at him and bleats like a sheep. Figure it out. They kill the sheep. Now let me show you a Sobarka. Here you go. Here's Loretta Fuddy. She's the one that signed the birth certificate. Okay. Did you know on Stanley Ann Dunham's passport renewal, it says Barack Hussein Sobarka? See right there? Sobarka. Sobarka. Hawk Rob Eos. You know what? So Satan turns everything upside down and backwards, right? Let me show you what Hawk Rob is. Hawk Rob is scorpion in Hebrew. See it? In Hebrew, Hawk Rob is a scorpion. And then Eos is goddess of the dawn. You see it? Scorpion, goddess of the dawn. You couldn't even think that up. Backwards. Barack Obama's name on his mother's passport renewal from Indonesia that's scratched out says Sobarka. And backwards, Sobarka is scorpion, goddess of the dawn. Which just happens to be the angel of the bottomless pit is the king of the scorpions, the goddess of the dawn. It's probably just coincidence. So you see how this is a bust? This is 100% a bust. You couldn't think it up? So let's just keep going. Let's just look at some, let's see, here's Obama Messiah, question mark. Newsweek, God of all things, Obama is Kali. The second coming, Obama, no big deal. No big deal. Newsweek. Now, none of these have been altered, you guys. None of these. Okay. Obama, the first gay president, says it on Newsweek, you guys. That's May 2012. May 21st, 2012. It says the first gay president. Well, let me ask you this. If he's gay, well, does that mean Michelle is a tranny? I mean, Joan Rivers said she was, right? Okay, so let's just keep stacking up the evidence. So then at the Twin Tower Memorial, be still and know that I am God. That's he read that at the Twin Tower Memorial, standing in the temple of God, claiming to be God. Again, there is his logo, the rising sun, the sun rising from the place of its setting, which in the Islamic religion, that's the sign of the coming of the Mahdi, when the sun rises from the place of its setting. And then there's the hidden imam that's going to come out of nowhere to lead the Islamic Jihad. Why did we leave $87 billion in equipment over for the Taliban? Why did we pull out of Afghanistan like we couldn't take all our equipment with us? That's insane. But there's a guy that said something about that. Let me show you a little interview thing that may make sense out of that.
Unbelievable. 2008, something unbelievable happened for us in the FBI. We were getting lots of rumors about this high-level asset that worked for several intelligence agencies at the same time. He worked for the Saudi Intelligence Service. He worked for the CIA, and he was being developed as a political asset in Chicago, Illinois. He was not even a United States citizen, but it was said that he was a student visa and that he was a national from another country. In 2008, everyone in the intelligence structure found out who he was. It was this individual, whose name I don't like to say, who became president in 2008 of the United States.
And I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
One of his code names was Renegade. His real name was Barry Sortoro, but he adopted a different name for his political career. When they ran him for president, the cabal, basically, this was the culmination of so many of their plans for so many years. His mission was to destroy the United States from within, one institution at a time. One of the things he did, of course, was he defunded our military. He brought down the resources that they got. But then he ordered our military in many, many instances and in various theaters to attack our allies and to defend and supply and help our enemies. That's exactly how he created ISIS. He would say publicly that the military were going to bomb our enemies, but then he would have the military actually bomb enemies of ISIS, our allies. He gave ISIS funding and equipment by basically ordering our military to take equipment into a certain theater and then abandon it.
Oh, wow. You mean like go over to Afghanistan with $87 billion worth of equipment, then abandon it and give it to the Taliban, arm the Taliban with $87 billion. Do y'all see what's going on? This is stupid. The only reason I'm able to do this is because I've lost any self-preservation instinct. I just don't give a shit anymore. The end of the world's here. What is there to give a shit about? The only thing I care about is getting you in the boat. Get converted. Get your sins cleansed. That's the only thing that matters anymore. There's nothing else that matters. What could matter anymore? You understand? I'm here to try and get you converted. Turn back to the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your mind, and ask for forgiveness. He'll forgive you. Because this is going to happen no matter what. Look at what you're looking at. I'm not even close to done.
And the commanders would say, that's ridiculous. We'd just be handing that stuff over to ISIS. And the president's office would say, don't question orders, just follow your orders. And
so that's pretty crazy, huh? Okay, now. All right, now listen to this guy real quick. It's not going to play now. Okay, so here we go. This is just going to be an attack the whole time now. Okay, so anyway, so I'm trying to play you guys more, tons more evidence, but here goes my equipment under attack. This is not natural what happens to my equipment. It's not natural. There's a concerted effort not to let you guys know what I know. It won't play. Okay, I'm going to let this one play and I'm going to cap it here because I'm kind of attacks. Trying to stop it.
Here's an image of Akhenaten. Inside the image of Akhenaten, you'll see there's an alien.
It's a serpent being.
The image of the Queen Nefertiti, when turned upside down, becomes an image of a dead sheep. This will become significant later in this video. The word Akhenaten means worshippers of the sun. This again will become significant later in this video. The logo for Barack Hussein Obama and his presidency is the rising sun over the stripes of the American flag.
It's symbolic of the sun rising over the west, or the sun rising from the place of its setting. This is also referred to in the Quran. The coming of the Mahdi will be when the sun rises from the place of its setting. Now I would like for you to listen to this video by the P.P. Simmons Group, and we'll put the pieces together for you shortly after we run the video from Mr. Simmons.
In a heavily resourced and documented article at AmericanThinker.com titled Barack Hussein Sobarka by Jason Kistner, we find some amazing discoveries regarding the identity problem of Barack Hussein Obama. Jason Kistner is an associate professor of criminology at California State University, Fresno. Following is an edited synopsis of that article with an absolutely surprising find by the P.P. Simmons staff at the end of this video. One of the unexplained mysteries in the all-but-missing documentation of the early life of Barack Obama is the appearance of the name Sobarka as his last name on an official document filled out by his mother. We are in possession of Stanley Ann Dunham Sotoro's 1968 application to extend her 1965 passport for an additional 2 years. Her passport, by the way, is now reportedly destroyed. On the second page of the application, Ann Dunham attempted to exclude her son Barack Obama, or Sobarka, from her passport, but the item has been crossed out, perhaps on the advice of the consulate in Jakarta, as this would have left 7-year-old little Barry passportless, so the exclusion did not happen. The appendage Sobarka seems to indicate a name change or a change in citizenship status for the boy. But there is a very good and surprisingly simple explanation for the seemingly random appearance of the name Sobarka on Obama's mother's passport application. Believe it or not, the reason appears to be linked to Loretta Fuddy. That's right. The same Loretta Fuddy, the Hawaii State Health Director who approved the release of Obama's long-form birth certificate and who recently and mysteriously died in a plane crash off the coast of Molokai. Obama's mother and Loretta Fuddy have one very strange factor in common. Both have been directly linked to the Subud cult, which originated in, of all places, Indonesia, and was founded by the Javanese Muslim Muhammad Sabu. The small cult appears to have around 20,000 members worldwide. Fuddy's cult member name was Diliana. Her official position was regional helper. Note also that the World Subud organization seems to have been based in, of all cities, Chicago. Wow, think about it. Indonesia, Chicago, Hawaii, 3 locales linked directly and very importantly to Obama's life. We also know from a Hawaii Advertiser article that Subud was introduced to Hawaii in the 1960s. Obama's mother was directly linked to Subud by her biographer and New York Times reporter Janie Scott in the book A Singular Woman, The Untold Story of Barack Obama's Mother. This book was reviewed by the New York Times, so this is a heavily documented fact. Loretta Fuddy worked her way up the ranks and became chairwoman of Subud USA, based in Seattle, from 2006 to 2008. But note that of all the persons that could have been installed as director of the State Department of Health in Hawaii, Hawaii chose Fuddy, a leader of a small cult with roots in Indonesia and connections to Barack Obama's mother. Secondly, remember that Fuddy assumed the directorship position in Hawaii in January 2011 after being appointed by Hawaii's governor just a few months before the release of Obama's long-form birth certificate. Changing one's name for spiritual reasons was something frequently done by followers of the cult Subud, and Stanley Ann Sotoro was in fact closely associated with Subud. We know that. It is reasonable then to suppose that Sobarka, the name chosen for Obama on that passport, arose in the same way new names for others, like Diliana Loretta Fuddy did. But remember that the name Sobarka appears in the passport renewal section labeled Amend to Include or Exclude Children. The name Barack Hussein Obama Sobarku is crossed out. This signifies that Obama's mother had apparently decided to exclude Barack from her passport renewal. Apparently, Stanley Ann Dunham Soetoro changed her mind about the exclusion. Perhaps this was done after having been informed by the consulate there that doing so would leave Barack without a passport. But there is another possibility, one just as valid and even simpler. What if Obama's mother was trying to include Obama in the renewal, but she wasn't able to produce a birth certificate, and the Sabood name Sobarka simply did not suffice legally? That could explain why the name Sobarka appears nowhere else in any of Obama's documentation of which we are currently aware. But now for the real shocker in this entire matter. The staff at P.P. Simmons did some research and found an old picture of the founder of the cult of Sabood, one Mohammed Sabu Sumohadi Wijojo. Do you see anything odd here? Think about it. Fuddy, Obama's mother Dunham, Sabood, Hawaii, Chicago, Indonesia, no birth certificate, Sobarka on the passport, a dead Hawaii Department of Health director, the one who conveniently certified Obama's forged and fabricated long-form birth certificate. Are all of these simply odd coincidences, or is there something more here? I have a feeling we will soon know the truth.
Fact number 1. Sabood is the name of its founder, Mohammed Sabu. He was given that name as a new name from an unknown passerby during a near-death childhood experience. Here is an excerpt.
This excerpt is from the cult of Sabood, how he got his name, how it started.
Fact number 2. The Mahdi must come from the line of Muhammad. This also fits with the Bedouin tribe correlation as well. Fact number 3. The name Sabu means sunrise or dawn. Fact number 4. The coming of the Mahdi, or Antichrist, will be preceded by the sun rising from the place of its setting, which is the west. Barack Obama's campaign logo is the sun rising over the west. Fact number 5. The cult of Sabood, or rising sun, originated in Indonesia. Barack and his mother lived in Indonesia, and Barack was raised in Indonesia. Fact number 6. Loretta Fuddy is also a member of the rising sun cult, Sabu. Remember that Obama's logo is a rising sun, and the name Sabu means rising sun. Fact number 7. Stanley Ann Dunham Soetoro is Barack Obama's mother. She also raised Barack Obama in Indonesia, the same as the origin of the rising sun cult called Sabu. Oddly enough, the founder of Sabu, or rising sun, looks identical to Barack Obama, who also has a logo that is a rising sun. Fact number 8. Loretta Fuddy, a member of the rising sun cult, Sabu, is an acquaintance of Barack Obama's mother, who is also a member of the same cult from Indonesia. Fact number 9. Loretta Fuddy was recently mysteriously killed in a plane crash.
I'm going to pause it right there. This is supposed to be actual footage. I mean, are you kidding me? Look, again, I told you at the beginning of this, I've done skydiving videography. You don't have your camera out while you're crash landing. No, you don't. You don't have your camera out and say, hey, I think I'll get this on video while I'm crash landing. then you certainly don't pull your camera out while you're swimming around getting video of the plane. That's insane. No, I'm not buying all the world's a stage acting nonsense. You don't get your camera out. Oh, look, this is all staged. It's all nonsense. Actual video. Plane crash caught on tape.
Was recently mysteriously killed in a plane crash. And oddly enough, she was the one person of 7 billion people on planet Earth who was also a member of the Rising Sun cult that happened to be the one link to Barack Obama, whose logo is a rising sun, and his birth certificate. Truly, dead men or women tell no tales. Now let us consider some more information. Akhenaten, who was a pharaoh in ancient Egypt, also is associated with Imhotep the Mummy. Akhenaten means worshippers of the sun. Here is a hieroglyph of Akhenaten, which shows an image of an alien inside Akhenaten himself.
It's a serpent being.
In the Bible, the devil is called the serpent or the dragon. Here is an image of Akhenaten in another hieroglyph, which shows a dragon coming out of the sun. Once again, the sun is involved. Revelation 12:9 in the Bible states, "And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceives the whole world." Therefore we know that the dragon is Satan. The Bible says that Satan turns things around and backwards and upside down. In Isaiah 29:16, let us consider those words. Here are images from the Bible, different versions that you may read for yourself. Now let us look at the 2008 inauguration of Barack Obama, whose mother's cult leader was also known as Bapak, B-A-P-A-K, almost identical to the name Barack. The leader of the cult, who was given his name under very mysterious circumstances, his name is Mohammed Sabu. The word Mohammed means to praise, and the word Sabu means the rising sun. So the words together mean to praise the rising sun. Here is a clip that shows Barack Obama giving his acceptance speech, standing on a stage that is a replica he had built of the seat of Satan, which is at the Berlin Museum. As he gives his speech, he encourages the crowd to repeat after him, "Yes, we can. Yes, we can." Remember that Satan turns things backwards and upside down. If you listen to the words "yes, we can" backwards, it simply plays, "Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan." So he is standing on a stage, and they are praising Satan, saying it backwards, just as the Bible says.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan. Thank you, Satan.
So Barack Obama, which means lightning from heaven, from Luke 10:18, in which Jesus said, "I beheld Satan falling as lightning from heaven," Barack Obama is standing on a stage that is a replica of the seat of Satan. He is having the crowd chant, "Yes, we can," which backwards is "Thank you, Satan." And his logo is the rising sun. And the leader of the cult that his mother is from means to praise the rising sun. The only connection to Barack Obama and his birth certificate, Loretta Fuddy was mysteriously killed in a plane crash, and out of 7 billion people on planet Earth, she is the one connection between Barack Obama and his birth certificate, and they are from the same cult, the Rising Sun. The coming of the Mahdi, the Antichrist, will be preceded by the sun rising over the West. Let us consider everything we're looking at and consider it well before we move on to the conclusion.
My name is Barack Obama. My mother was born in Kansas. My father was born in Kenya. And I was born, of course, in Hawaii.
Remember that Satan turns things upside down and backwards. Let us look at 9/11. It is an established fact that 9/11 and the bombing of the Twin Towers was done with the knowledge of our own government, as well as the image of the bombing being printed on U.S. currency. It is a fact that Barack Obama signed an 11,000-pound steel beam at the top of the One World Freedom Center, which replaced the Twin Towers. The beam read, "We remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger." It is a fact that the letters WWW from we in Hebrew are va va va, which is the equivalent of 666. Therefore, when Barack Obama signed the top of the One World Freedom Tower, he signed the numbers 666 in Hebrew. It is a fact that Revelation 9:11 states, quote, "And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in Greek tongue has the name Apollyon." It is also a fact that Eos, E-O-S, means morning star or goddess. It is also an established fact that Eo, the root of Eos, means Abaddon or Apollyon. It is a fact that the name Barack Hussein Sobarka appears on his mother's 1968 passport extension from Indonesia. Remember, Satan turns things backwards and upside down. Let us look at Sobarka broken down backwards. The root of Hakrab is Akra, which means weakness of will, acting in a way that is contrary to one's sincerely held moral values. This is what happens when a person falls into a sinful state. They act in a way that is contrary to their sincerely held moral values. Remember, Eos means goddess or morning star. Eo, the root, means Abaddon or Apollyon. The root of Sobarka backward is a sinful state. The entirety of the word is a sinful state, Abaddon. Here is an image of the Denver Broncos Stadium as they worship their king, Abaddon, the rider on the white horse.
The name Obama took from his Indonesian stepfather, Lolo Soetoro. That class register says Obama came from Honolulu and lists his date of birth. But look at his nationality. It's listed as Indonesian and his religion as Islam.
What I was suggesting, you are absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that that has not come my Christian faith.
And they did it because they know their king. Who's their king? Who's their king? The angel of the bottomless pit, whose name is Abaddon, Apollyon. Mystery solved, folks. It's over.
My mother was born in Kansas. My father was born in Kenya. And I was born, of course, in Hawaii. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth.
All right, guys. Peace and grace. I'm trying to shake the trees and see if any fruit will fall. It's time, guys. You've got to see what's going on in the world now. You have to see how obvious it is now. I have one more thing I want to show you. Now, I've shown you guys this guy, Noah Harari, about humans are hackable animals. Okay, he works for Klaus Schwab. Okay, it's also the trans agenda. I'll call it the rainbow agenda now. Listen to what he says.
Developing even bigger powers than ever before. We are really acquiring divine powers of creation and destruction. We are really upgrading humans into gods. We are acquiring, for instance, the power to re-engineer life.
We are turning humans into gods. That's what he said. Now let me tell you what he thinks about the God whom I serve. I serve Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the only and true God, the one and only El, the Almighty God. Let me show you what our friend Noah Harari has to say about that. Now let's listen to him go on and on.
All this story about Jesus rising from the dead and being the Son of God, this is fake news. Humans are now hackable animals. You know, the whole idea that humans have, you know, this, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will. That's over.
So to Yuval Harari, Jesus is fake news, and this idea that you have some soul is complete nonsense. So he just threw the Bible in the trash, crapped on it, and what do you think they'll do to Christians if you're a believer? What do you think? What do you think if you're not really a converted believer, or you think Jesus is the Son of God, but you haven't been converted yet? Man, it's going to be a scary place to be. Now watch this.
The difference of this fourth industrial revolution is it doesn't change what you are doing. It changes you. If you take a genetic editing.
So yeah, genetic editing. So where do you think this is going? Where do you think it's all going? It's very obvious where it's all going. The end of the world's here, I told you. A long time ago in 2002, when I walked out a door the night I got saved, I prayed Our Father to the heavens with Michael. Water and light came down on me. And from that point on, I was called to service. And the record will speak for itself now. The Vatican's a snake. Yes or no? The Lord let me bust the serpent race. What's the serpent race doing? Destroying the sheep race. The sheep race is the angelic race. The serpent race is the demonic race. And it's angel and a demon within a host body. The mystery solved, folks. And now all the players are out on the stage now. Told you. Okay, guys. Anyway, I love you in Christ. Peace and grace. Hopefully this whole thing works. I pray it all works. I love you guys in Christ.